First of all, I would like, at this point, I guess, I would like to introduce Mr. William E. Reynolds, who is going to be our first presenter for our first inductor into the Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. I have the extreme pleasure to present to you Ron Colyer. James Ron Colyer was my assistant principal for the 17 years that he was in the district. He was an outstanding assistant principal, and I understand that there must be some mistake on this program, because I understand he's still coaching football for DuPo. He's been coaching it for the last 10 years. Ron had 33 years of education. As I said, he's been coaching 11 years since he's retired. He graduated from Southeast Missouri State. He went to the University of Illinois for an advanced degree and got his master's at Southeast Missouri. He has a bachelor's and a master's, and he's got a unique degree that I've never heard of before, and I'd like to go through it with you. It's a degree called LSOTC. I've never heard of that before, and I don't think anybody has. I think he gave it to himself, and it stands for he's a lifetime survivor of coaching and teaching. One of his outstanding items that we need to bring before, he's not here tonight, of course, and I'm going to introduce his son Josh in just a second. I think you probably you saw on television where these guys have never missed a Super Bowl. Well, I'd just like to say that Ron has not missed a state basketball tournament in 51 years. And I think that's a whole lot better than Super Bowl. That's a few years more. And so that's where he is tonight at the state tournament. He's done lots of things for different people. He's now the city clerk at Columbia. He served 8 years on the school board. And as I said, it is an extreme pleasure for me to introduce Josh Colyer to accept this award.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. You know, I actually have a lot of fond memories as a child here in the DuPo School District. Even though I didn't go to school here, I kind of feel like I got a little bit of my education here. I spent a lot of days running around the halls and shooting baskets in the gym and all the sorts of things that I guess the son of an administrator slash teacher slash coach does. So even though I went to a rival school, the DuPo School District and the DuPo Tigers hold a special place in my heart, and they always will. My dad is very sorry that he couldn't be here tonight, but he did leave me a letter that he wanted me to read to everybody. So here goes. To former students, colleagues, and friends, I'm very humbled by this honor and award, and I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Let me also say that I am extremely proud to be inducted with this class. I have fond and great memories of working with Tom, Steve, and Davey Sue, and Beanie helped bring me in at DuPo my first year as she was preparing for retirement. I regret that I cannot be there this evening, but as most of you know, I do have a 51-year consecutive streak of attending the IHSA state basketball tournament, and it happens to fall on this weekend. Numerous memories of working with the students at DuPo Junior Senior High School flood my mind. Those days were not always easy, but they were always interesting. I'll bet Mr. Mudd and Mr. Brillhart remember the day that the three of us thought we were going to get shot in East Rondelet. And I'm sure Mr. Reynolds and Mr. Bright will never forget the nights we were in charge of crowd control at regional tournaments. We eventually were on a first-name basis with the good folks from Venice, Madison, and Lovejoy. I also recall that our junior high teaching staff and I worked diligently on attendance. Our goal was to have at least one day of perfect attendance. And we finally did on October 8th, 1980. And not one student was absent, and there was only one staff member missing, me. Just so happens that I was at the hospital that morning for the birth of my youngest son. I did get back to school in the afternoon, but the kids never let me forget it. And on a side note, for those of you that know my dad, it should come as no surprise that every October 8th, he made sure to remind me that I was the reason that he missed that day. Over the 17 years as junior high and assistant high school principal with a few teaching and coaching assignments thrown in, the memories are way too numerous to mention. But I've always told everyone who would listen that if treated fairly, regardless of the situation, students at Dupo Junior Senior High School were the most loyal bunch of kids that I had in my 33 plus years in education. And when I see and have conversations with former students today, they bear that out as a truth. As far as colleagues are concerned, I think Mr. Reynolds and I both thought that we were fortunate to work with an overall outstanding group of teachers. I know that I was very proud of our staff in the junior high. Up and down both hallways, we had very high quality teachers, as evidenced by Mr. Leonard and Mr. McFall's induction tonight. And as I recall, we even had a couple of what I would term quote-unquote Hall of Fame characters on staff, although those names shall remain anonymous. As for administrators that I worked with, I was probably a lot happier to be on staff at Dupo than Mr. Mudd was to have me. But what Mr. Mudd probably doesn't know is that I held him in high esteem as a superintendent. He made wise and sometimes hard, albeit not always popular decisions, especially when it came to finances. He kept the district solvent when many others were teetering on the brink of financial disaster. In fact, he kind of reminded me of my own father when I was growing up on our farm. Both of them could turn a nickel into a quarter. My relationship with Mr. Reynolds is one of which I am most proud. When I began at Dupo in the summer of 1977, our personalities were as different as those of a thoroughbred and stubborn farm mule. And you know who grew up on the farm raising mules. It wasn't Mr. Reynolds. But as we went to work, personalities went out the window, and we forged a bond that was strong for 17 years. And in fact, that bond is still strong even in our retirement years. I could go on with stories for hours, but I know I'm supposed to be brief. So once again, let me tell you that I am deeply honored. I've often stopped and looked at the names on the large plaque inside the high school hallway. And as I read the names, I always realized that I have admired every person listed. To have my name join that list is indeed quite an honor. Thank you.